crafty friends, it's Erica here from Me to You Paper Crafts, coming to you with another Fun Fold Friday video. This time we're going to make a little jacket with a sweet old-fashioned looking blouse underneath. Perfect for Christmas with the real red, and then this designer series paper is from Heartwarming Hugs. Very, very sweet card, and when you pop it open you have this triangle piece on the inside where you can put your greeting and then sign your little message. Isn't that sweet? Looks a little complicated, but it really isn't. Okay, so all of the measurements will be on my blog post, and there will be a link down below in the video description. So you can hop on over to my blog and get all of the details so that you can make a card like this. Now, if you want, you can make a masculine version as well. It lends itself to both. So I've already pre-cut all of my materials. I'm going to go with the same color scheme for Christmas. So I have this piece of cardstock here, and this cardstock actually measures 5.5 by 8. So you do have to trim off 1/2 inch there. Just pull out my scoreboard here. I'm going to run a little bit of wax paper on here, and I'm going to score it down the center at 4 inches. Okay, so 4 inches. And that's all the scoring we need with our scoreboard, but we are going to do a little bit more scoring. Okay, so we're going to fold this in half. I'm going to use my bone folder and give it a really good crease here. All right, now the next thing we want to do is we want to make some score lines to create the front of the jacket. These are the lapels, and if you notice, I have some embossing on these lapels. I embossed an extra piece of paper and stuck these lapels down just to give it a little bit more texture. You could put designer series paper on here as well if you wanted to, and you could even jig the card so that you put a piece of DSP in here and then your white piece so that the jacket has some texture on it as well. So you can do as much or as little as you want with this little jacket. Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to find the center of the bottom of your card here. So this card measures 5.5. So half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. So take a pencil, and you're just going to mark at 2 3/4 at the bottom, just a light little pencil mark there. And then you're going to mark up 2 inches from the bottom on each side. So if I count my little squares here, each one of these squares on our grid sheet represents 1/4 inch. So I need 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So this is 2 inches here, and then I've got my 2 inches on the left side here. Okay, so you've got 3 little tick marks on there. I hope you can see that. So there's one at the center at the bottom of the card. Make sure that's where your card opens. And then you have one on the right side and one on the left side. Okay, now I like to use my silicone mat. This is one of the basic tools that I use. I absolutely love it. It's great for when you're using adhesives, and it also serves as a little stamp surface for your photopolymer stamps. And it's great for scoring on as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to create 2 diagonal lines. Okay, you're going to do one diagonal line from the corner where the crease is for the center of your card down to the center point at the bottom, and from the 2 inch mark on the side you're going to do another score line to that center point at the bottom. Really, really simple to do. Now if you wanted to line this up in your trimmer, you can. I just need to get a little bit more light here because I can't see that score line there. There it is. Okay, so I'm just lining up the score line, top corner, to that center point, and I'm going to do a score line. Then here's that 2 inch point up the side. I'm just going to rotate my ruler and go from that 2 inch point again to the bottom. Like that. And then we're going to do the other side. So again, from that top crease down to this center mark, and then from that 2 inch mark again to the center, like so. Okay, All right, now if you close your card, you want to fold your creases. So this one, the larger one that goes up to the top. But before I do that, let me just get rid of these little, you can erase these little pencil marks here. I had another eraser on my desk and I cleaned up this morning and now it's disappeared on me. Okay, so on the longer one, you're going to fold this way into the center of the card. And then you're going to fold, this is the lapel, and you're going to fold that back. And really give these some good burnishing with your bone folder, right down into that crease at the bottom. Okay, and then you're going to do the same on this side. You're going to fold to the center. Fold this one to the center, give it a good burnish. And then fold the lapel back. And there you have created the front of your jacket. Now we will glue these down when we finish decorating. We'll glue these down because you don't want it to keep popping up all the time. And you might want to just reinforce by scoring again or burnishing again on that top, that center crease there so that the card lies flat. You see? All right, now to make the lapels, I have cut a small piece of paper and I can tell you the measurements right now if you like. This is 2 1/4 by 1 3/4 inches. And what you want to do is you want to cut this on the diagonal. You could use scissors. I happen to have my little mini trimmer here, or you could do it on your Stampin' Trimmer. And I'm just going to cut this on the diagonal from corner to corner. Okay. Now you can select whatever embossing folder that you want. On this first card, I chose the Tasteful Textures embossing folder because it has sort of like a, I don't know, you could think of it as a little tweed on there. I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up, but it gives it a very subtle tweedy look there. For this one, I decided to try something a little bit different, and I'm going to use this hammered metal, okay? Now, the key thing is that some of you may be thinking, well, why don't you just emboss the rectangle that I had? Well, you can't do that because you have to position the lapels the way they're going to go on the jacket. Otherwise, the embossing's on the reverse side. So this is more or less how they're going to go on the jacket, right? You see how that works? So they're going to go on the diagonal like that, like the jacket. Okay, so you're going to put that in there. Then I'm going to just quickly run over to my embossing machine and I'm going to throw this through. Okay, there we go. So I have my 2 embossed lapels. Now, I like to use my Tombow glue because you have sliding time, okay? So you want to be able to slide this into position on the lapels. So I'm going to use some Tombow. And let's get this on here. Try and give yourself some nice even edges here. And then you're going to do the second one. There we go. Oh, I got a little bit of glue seeping out the bottom. Just rub that off with my finger. Okay, so now it's time to do the shirt on the inside. So here I have a piece of DSP, and you decide, of course. Now this would be kind of cool. Remember when I was telling you about doing the outside of the jacket? You could do a striped jacket here. You'd have to cut it a little bit wider though, of course. But wouldn't that be cool? Don't know why I didn't think about that earlier, but that's really, really cool. But I'm just going to use the inside and have this little green blouse on the inside. All right, so this piece measures for the blouse. This is actually measures 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so what we're going to do with that, again, I'm going to find the center point here. So this is 5 inches. So I'm going to make a tick mark at 2.5. Okay, and then I'm using my 1.5 inch circle punch. Is that the right size? Did I pull the right one down? Yeah, 1.5 inch size circle punch. And I'm going to go about halfway down. I'm going to center it where the tick mark is and then just punch out. Okay, so that creates your little neckline there. Okay, now to make the scalloped blouse, what you want to do is you take that same punch and take a scrap piece of Whisper White. Now I think this is for the inside of my card. Let me just double check. No, this is my scrap piece. You're going to take a scrap piece of Whisper White, and you're going to leave yourself room around the edges, because you're going to put this scallop circle on top and run it through your embossing machine. So just you know, don't cut the circle too close to the edge. You see, you have to leave some room around here. And then you're going to put this circle on here. This is from the Circle collection of dies. And you're going to put this around here like that. And then I'm going to go cut that out. So I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. And so this is what you end up with, is a little frilly collar. All right, so now we have the circle for our collar. So what I want to do now is I'm going to put some glue. You just need a little bit of glue on half that circle because you're going to cut it off. But I like to put it on the blouse before I cut it. So take the circle and then you're going to put it on the blouse. Should line up perfectly. And once that's glued down, you're going to trim it. Okay. And I'm going to just wait for that to dry a little bit. Now, I created, you can, you know, look through your stamp sets and see what you have to create an embellishment with. This cute little sprig of leaves I actually took from the Toil Christmas stamp set. It has some dies in there. These are the dies, you know, the bird as well as this sprig, and then it's got this cute 2 little sprigs in here. So I just used that to cut out some sprigs. But if you have a die set that has some little holly, or you can, you know, punch out a little flower, whatever you want to create your embellishment on your lapel. So let me just grab my paper snips, and I'm going to cut from behind. I'm just going to snip that like so, okay? Then you can discard the other half. Unless you're making another card, you should keep it. All right, so there is our blouse. And the next thing we need to do is to cut this down so that we can fit it inside here. Okay, so again, what you want to do is you're going to cut this on the diagonal. Now you're going to find your center point again at the bottom here. So this measures 5 inches again. So I'm going to put a tick mark at 2.5. Like that, okay? And then I'm going to put this back in my little trimmer here. And I'm going to cut from the top diagonal down to that center point down here. So just line that up to the center point like so. And cut that, and then trim this the other side. Same thing. I took my little guard off because I find it a little bit easier to use. Okay, so there's our little blouse. And then we're going to just insert that in there and glue it in. You want to make sure that you get the point in, and then you can just sort of center it and get it even at the top as well. So again, I'm going to use Tombow glue because I have that wiggle room again. I'm definitely going to want to make a couple more of these. I want to make like the suit jacket with a design. I love this striping here. It's very cool. I remember having this beautiful black and white pinstripe suit years ago. Was my favorite business suit. Very professional looking, I have to say. Okay, and we're just going to get that in there like that. Okay, give that a crease. All right, so there is the jacket there. With the blouse inside, I should say. Okay, and all we have left now is to put a piece for the inside of the card. So again, you just want to cut a 4 by 5 1/4. I did have... I don't think it's 4 by 5 1/4. Just hang on a sec. It's 5 by 3 3/4. So is this my piece here? 5 1/2 by 3 3/4. Well, that's 3 3/4, but I want this down to 5 inches. So let's just trim this a little bit. At 5 inches. So this is at 5 1/2. So I need to take off 1/2 inch. I just need to trim off 1/2 inch here. Okay, so again, I'm going to find my center here at 2 1/2, and again I'm going to cut this on the diagonal again. Okay, so from the top corner down to that center point, we're going to trim that off because we need to make another triangle for the inside of the card. Let's trim that, and then this one. Perfect. Okay, and rather than erase my little tick mark, I can just turn it over, and that's going to fit on the inside of the card. See? Now, before I stick that down, I may want to put a greeting on, just in case I make a mistake. And let's see. I've got a couple of stamp sets out here that I could use. I was using this Poinsettia Petals. May magic and wonder bloom this holiday, or warm wishes from our house to yours. Maybe I'll just do this real simple Merry Christmas. Okay, let's do a Merry Christmas on the inside. So you can pick any stamp set that you have. Here's another one, May the magic and wonder bloom. Well, I haven't really done a flower on this card, so maybe I won't want to use the word bloom. And I don't need a thank you card. So where's that other greeting here? Happy holidays. Let's just use that one. Happy holidays. And let's get an acrylic block for that. And there we go. And I'm just going to use my Memento Black ink. And I'm going to line up my silicone mat on my grid sheet. These grid sheets are another essential supply, I think, for paper crafting, because often you need to measure things out and line things up. So I use my grid sheets all the time. Plus, when I'm designing, I write notes on them. There's some spots on the right side over here where you can write some notes. And the silicone mat is great too because it's kind of transparent. You can actually line up your piece of paper on there and then do your stamping. So there we go. Happy holidays. So let's close up my ink pad. It's always dangerous for me to leave those open. And then let's use my tape runner, and we can just tape this down on the inside of our card. So you basically just want to center this in here. And I find it's easier just to butt it right up against that score line. There you go, and it's hidden. You see that? Okay, now remember earlier I was telling you we want to glue these this lapel down. So I'm just going to run a tiny bit of Tombow in here. Just be careful where you run it. I'm just going to run a little bit like that, and I'm going to hold that down for a few seconds, and then I'm going to open, no, actually that's right. So that glues down the lapel. Let's wait for that to dry. Okay. Nope, it needs time to, I need to spend more time holding it down. Maybe during these intervals I should have some music playing. You wouldn't want me singing. Okay, so I think that worked. Then I'm going to glue this lapel down. Maybe I'm just putting too much glue on. Okay, so that glues the lapels down, and then what you may want to do is you're going to actually glue, you know, the jacket down to the blouse. Okay, see this is still open here. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow in here. A little bit of Tombow in here. And then I'm just going to fold those down and hold it. Okay. So we are almost done. We just have to put on our little embellishment. Now, to put this on, I decided to mount it up a little bit with some mini dimensionals. Let me just pull those out. I've almost finished this card. I'll have to start a new card of dimensionals. So these are the mini dimensionals. There we go. So see how that's all glued down now. Okay. So let's take this and make sure I know which is the right side. This has got a little bit of a embossing on it, which is really cute. And I'm going to get out my, hang on a sec, my Take a Pick tool. And I'm going to pick up some of these and I'm going to put one right there, and I'll put another one here. Just poke those off. And I'm going to place this on the lapel like that. Okay, and then I thought what would be cute, what I did on this one, I really liked how it turned out, is I did a tiny little bow here. Now this is one of the ribbons in our ribbons and trim section of the catalog, or actually the holiday catalog doesn't have a ribbons and trim section like the annual catalog does, but it has it has ribbons and trim throughout the holiday catalog. But I just love this. Came in a package of 2 different kinds of trim, and it's a gold rope. And what I love about it is that it frays. See the fraying on there? It just automatically unravels itself, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to create this tiny little bow. And you can make the tiniest little bows with it, this thread. I love this thread. It's very delicate and it just adds a little something extra there. Okay, so I'm going to trim tiny little trims, and then as it gets on the card, it'll just, see, you just have to flick it with your finger and it starts to fray on its own. Okay, so now I'm going to get out a glue dot, and I take them off with my pokey end of the take a pick and roll it into a little ball. Okay, and then I'm going to put it where I want the bow to go and just flatten it on there, and then stick my bow in there. Like that. There you go. And it's already frayed itself. Okay, so there's your little embellishment. So what do you think? I think these are just adorable. Absolutely adorable. These would also make super wedding cards or table favor cards, you know, with people's place names on them somehow. You could have, you know, the male and the female sitting at the table, or wedding cards. Aren't they cute? Too cute. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this fun fold. It's kind of an interesting little card, and I hope you'll go and make some. So if you enjoyed my video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button, and if you hit the bell, then you will get notification when I upload another video. And you can go and visit my blog to get all of the measurements for this. Thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon, and I hope you enjoy and have a super duper weekend. Bye for now.